Let me show you how to get started and weave some rows of beadwork. You can see I have the warp threads, and you want to make sure again that there's a nice tension. You start with a cut piece of wildfire, a comfortable length. You don't want to be pulling your arm, you want an economy of movement, and you're going to add thread several times as you do beadwork. The first thing you do is, depending on the orientation, I'm right-handed, so on the left side of my loom, I'm bringing the tail end of my working thread up between the first and second warp threads, and I'm just going to tie a half hitch. And I'm going to leave myself a long enough tail, this is the tail, so that later I have enough to thread onto a needle and weave back into the piece. Now I want you to notice that my working thread, where's that tail? My working thread is coming underneath the warp threads, and this is the magic of beadwork. There are 6 threads. I'm weaving a piece that's 5 beads wide. I strung my thread on a number 12 needle. You want to work with a hard beading needle as long as will fit through the width of your piece. Now I have 5 cylinder beads here. This is so much fun. They pop up. Put your finger underneath and you're going to pop 1 bead up. And you probably can't hear it, but it makes a little ping sound if your warp is tight enough. And each bead goes in between. So the beads are coming up from underneath, and you see how they fit in between each of the threads. Now I'm going to go and pass back through the beads, and I'm pushing the beads up from underneath, so that essentially what I'm doing is sandwiching the beads with my working thread going under and over. They're being sandwiched in between the warp threads. Cylinder beads are nice to use because they fit together like little bricks. They have nice, even, big holes. Now you can actually see the needle in between the beads, and you want to make sure that it's over the warp threads. And I'm going to switch hands here just so that you can see as I pull this through. It's going to pull those beads nice and tight. There's your first row. Easy, right? Now I'm going to bring the thread again back underneath. I'm going to pick up 5 more beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull them down to your warp threads. Make sure the tail stays out of the way. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pop them up from underneath, in between, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can really feel them pop into place when your warp is tight. If the warp starts to loosen, go to the dowel rod and turn it away from you or towards you and pull these warp threads tight. Now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pass back through, making sure to go over the warp threads as I come back through. And I'm pushing those rows together. That's all you need to know to make a piece of beadwork. And you can keep going, following patterns. Remember to bring your working thread underneath the warp, pick up your beads, push them up between the warp threads, and pass your needle back over the warp threads. So you're sandwiching your beads against the warp. And that's it. That's the trick.